This week on Legal Tech 101, changing up again. So no interviews this week. Booze, I hear, booze.
Boo us! Boo you!
But so I thought that we would change it up again, and I was speaking to a marketer, a lady called Charlotte, who is the CMO at Novum Learning. She said, love the podcast, Rob, love the interviews, but we'd like to know a bit more about you. And I have taken that to heart, so I feel sad you guys don't know who I am. Of course, I did the Road to Legal Tech video a month ago now, and that went down well. And so I thought we would do another one to talk a little bit about Rob, all about me. I am in my automobile safety tree, if that is a thing. It's where I feel safe, comfortable. My automobile. And so today I thought I would talk about something slightly different. Dyslexia. So there's a cruel word that someone made up for dyslexics to try and spell. A classic, terrible joke. But yeah, so I am a dyslexic. Not only am I dyslexic, I'm also left-handed. So God obviously had me in the back of the queue when it came to the ability to learn. So yes, so I was found to have dyslexia at university, which I find a bit of a failing of the education system, because if you look back at my work from like GCSE and things like that, you would be like, this guy's dyslexic. But yeah, so it took till I was 18 to find out that I was officially dyslexic, and I feel like things need to be better with regards to the ability to support people who have this kind of learning difficulty, if you will, purely because people don't really know what to do with it, and so they just give you a bit more time and say good luck to you. So that kind of traditional read, write, repeat, read, write, repeat, read, write, repeat mentality for learning, that don't play ball with us. And it's kind of a bit of an issue in certainly the British education system at the moment, because that is the fundamental way that you are taught. And so I struggled with my education. I'm openly admit that. It took a long time to work out ways to see how I could fundamentally try and pass exams that aren't built for me. Again, asking a dyslexic person to write 11 pages on the Battle of Hastings is never going to go down well. I'm a huge believer in not trying to write more. And so yeah, it just was a bit of a mess. Found university hard. It wasn't the easiest thing in the world, and I came out with a Desmond, so that is a very British term for a 2-2. My boss is listening, that is an excellent degree in business studies. But to be honest, I think dyslexia has helped me when it comes to my progression in my career. I had to think of different ways in order to stand out in effectively interviews, right? Because the traditional model of, right, let's give them a written exam like IBM do, I'm never going to win that battle. If I want to go work for a big corporate, for example, and they give me an psychometric test, I ain't passing that bad boy. When I was at Hasbro, which was my placement year, I did one of their kind of psychometric tests, and I got the worst score that anyone's ever got, ever. And at that point I knew that I had to try something different. That's actually how I got my job at Concilio. Is I wrote Drew a letter to say why he should hire me, purely because it was me going toe to toe with an old school veteran of the field, and I wanted to expose my weaknesses, which is writing. Guys, terrible, and emails in general. Really hate writing emails. I get 3 or 4 people to check them. I use Grammarly. Even like proposals, it gets me itchy, and so I try and do everything that I do in phone calls, Zoom calls now, and of course this is kind of where this podcast / Rob talking nonsense on LinkedIn for a bit came from, because effectively it allows me to play to my strengths when talking to potential customers. I can't always, well, I throw in grammar if I feel like there's not enough. So I'm like, a comma, that sounds like it could do with a comma here-ish. So yeah, and pronouns, don't even talk to me about pronouns. And that's probably why I actually got into sales and actually took to cold calling originally, is because I knew I didn't have to write an email. which is funny because that's obviously helped me progress in my career. When I went to Smart Room, funnily enough, and Ansarada, I actually asked them to do cold calling with me as part of my interview process, because I knew that I had to think of ways to differentiate myself. And again, it's just all about thinking about how you can differentiate who you are. Apparently, you have different ways of learning, and dyslexics think about things slightly differently. So funnily enough, like even my Kindle has a dyslexic font, which I use. But generally reading is not the easiest thing in the world. Apparently we are, as left-handed as well, more creative because you use the right-hand side of your brain. And so you've got to think of creative, I suppose, solutions to problems. And that's how this all came about. Thinking of a creative way to reach out to you guys. That's not just, it's Rob sending me another email or a phone call. There are lots of, I suppose, support material out there now with regards to ways you can support yourselves. So for example, when it comes to dyslexic people, apparently we do better with coloured background paper. And it's just, again, it's thinking about a potential weakness and how that weakness you can, I suppose, exploit to be a strength. And I think that's very much what everyone needs to kind of think about these days, is about when we have more time for self-reflection because we don't have to commute anymore, is think about these areas where you think you probably could do a little bit better, and see how you can improve. I'm also a huge believer in cutting out the stuff that you're just really rubbish at, and just focus on excelling in the areas where you know that can make the difference. And so so I just wanted to talk to you about dyslexia in general, tell you that, hey, if you have dyslexia out there, you're not stupid. You just have to think of different ways in how you can approach your career, how you can think about how you can talk to people, because again, that's not always the easiest thing to do. And yeah, that's what has helped me kind of move forward in regards to my career as well. It's just important for people just to talk about these type of things, have a conversation, be open with your employers. Again, dyslexia or other learning difficulties makes you better at other things. And so this is really just a moment just to kind of say, hey, it's okay to struggle with things, but again, when it comes in to really focus on those strengths, think about what you're good at, I think is probably where I'm getting at. I'm a huge believer in not trying to improve things you're terrible at, and just focus on the key things that excels you as an individual. Peace out, A-Town.
We don't need no education. We don't need no thought control.